जय गणनायक जय विघ्न विनायक जय जय गणनायक जय विघ्न विनायक जय जय गणनायक जय विघ्न विनायक जय यही सुमिरत सिद्धि हो गणनायक कटिवर रामचंद्र भगवान की जय. So I go straight into the katha this evening.
Yeah.
There is a scenario where we are told that all the gods were defeated by Ravan and his followers, and they had taken over the heavens and so on. And all the Deogans, the gods, they had gone into hiding because of Ravan. He was such a powerful person. But one has to understand what is Ravan. In every day of our life, there are two forces operating within us. We have the Ravan principle operating, and we have the Rama principle. Or we can say that we have the saintly principle and the demonic principle. Or we can say that we have the positives and the negatives, whichever way we want to put it. And what are the positive, or what are the Rama principles? These are truth, sincerity, purity, love, bhakti, compassion, empathy, sympathy, these type of qualities. And then you have the Rawan principle of hate and greed, lust, anger, hatred, jealousy, and those things. And when these negativities are so overpowering and so overwhelming within us, it captures our mind, our thinking. And because of that, we are unable to do the correct things. If we allow our minds to be captured by hate and greed and lust and anger, what kind of person would we become? What kind of life would we live? If on the other hand, we allow things like truth, sincerity, purity of thought, compassion, all these good characteristics, when these operating within our mind, then we are a completely different kind of person. So when we say the gods were conquered, it is because there was a time. The gods refer to all the good qualities that I just mentioned. When these are overpowered by the negativities, then what happens? We become less than human beings. Tulsidas captures this in a very real way when he refers to the gods and to Ravan. And that is the brilliance of St. Tulsidas. So he gives us a synopsis of what took place during that time. He is saying that during that time, everybody went contrary because Ravan was in control. Nobody could sing the praise of the Lord. Nobody could read the Vedic principles or read the Vedas and the Puranas and so on. If you were found doing that, then you were held captive and so many things could have happened. So imagine a situation like that where goodness is on the decline. And whenever you are found doing good, you are in great deal of trouble. So what kind of thing will take place during those? Imagine a scenario where over here you're not allowed to pray, you're not allowed to do good things, you're not allowed to serve the needy, you're not allowed to pray. What will become of character? Take a home, for example. If in the home, the father says, well, look, no praying here. You could go and thief, you could go and steal, you can do whatever you want. Do all the wickedness. And that is what Ravan allowed to happen. So what would happen in a society when there is that type of thing operating? So Tulsidas is telling us, he says, virtuous acts were to be found nowhere. All goodness. He says, no respect was paid to the gods, the Brahmins, the Gurus. There was no devotion to our beloved Sri Ram. He says, no sacrificial performances were made. So think of, it says, no one would ever dream of listening to the Vedas and the Puranas. Just to listen, you can't. So what kind of society will that be? Tulsidas says, if ever there was any talk of jap, jap is muttering of the sacred names and so on, or yoga, subjugation of the mind, certain disciplines by which we operate. He says, penance, sacrifice, he says these things could not be done. It says, so rampant was corruption in the world that there was no talk of piety. And actually we are coming to that in the world today. Nobody is thinking. Think of the wars. Think of all the negativities. Think of the poverty. There is enough wealth to till the land, to feed the world. But everybody is thinking of going to other planets, thinking of doing other things. They want to have all kinds of weapons, causing billions and millions. And you have people poor, not getting food. So this is the kind of thing that operated during that time when Ravan was in control. He says, whoever recited the Vedas and the Puranas were intimidated in many ways and sent into exile. So Mother Earth is experiencing this kind of situation. What does she do? What is her response? And against this backdrop, I begin tonight's katha. Tulsidas sings in Duha. Baran in Ajay Aniti, Ghor and Isacha the Joker. Tulsidas is telling his sadhus, he is relating this katha to his fellow sadhus. He said, oh sadhus, he says, words cannot describe the enormity of the terrible outrages caused by the demon. And he says, Ghor and Isacha Jokarahi. The outrages is of the demons. You cannot talk about it. There was so much. They was operating so much against the goodness of the people. And he says, Hinsa par atipriti tinake papa vikavanamiti. It says, those who hold weakness near dear to the heart, he says, there is no limit to which they will go to cause harm. Think of what is happening right here in our country. The people who invade your homes, there is no limit to their outrages. There is no limit to the extent to which they will go to terrorize your family and to take all that you have worked and earned by your sweat. That is the kind of thing that's operated. We still have kathas and so on going on, yajnas and so on. But think about the times of Ravan, when he said, there must be absolutely nothing of no practice like this. We'll just practice it. How much more would this type of situation operate in that scenario? So Tulsidas sings in Chaupai. Jai Ram, Shri Ram, Jai माँ नहीं मातु पिता नहीं देवा गद सन करवा वही सेवा माँ नहीं मातु पिता नहीं देवा साधु सन करवा वही सेवा जय राम श्री राम जय जय राम श्री राम जय राम जय जय राम बाधे कल बहु घोर द्वारा jail ampat paradan paradara. Because of that scenario, Tulsidas says in his sadhus, he says, my fellow sadhus, because of that situation, it gave rise to a number of evildoers. You see, it becomes fertile ground now for people to do whatever they want. And they do it without fear. Isn't that operating in today's world? We are all experiencing that. He says, thieves and gamblers, they grew in leaps and bounds. He says, jail ampat paradan paradara. He says, people went and simply took over people's wealth and wives and children. That is happening all now. He says, things went in proportions that is unheard of. That kind of evils. Mana himatu pitana hideva. Mana himatu pitana hideva. Imagine, people had no respect for mother and father. And when you have no respect for mother and father, you have reached the lowest ebb, my friends. Because mothers and fathers are the gods on earth. They are our gods. If we can't respect them whom we see, how can you say I'm respecting the Lord whom you don't see? You can't expect to ill-treat your parents and say I'm going to worship God. That can't happen. That don't happen. The Christ said, honor thy mother and thy father, so that the days which the Lord thy God hath given thee upon this land shall be long and everlasting. So mother and father hold a very special place in the life of a child. In Hinduism, we revere them as gods. Sadhu nasan karwa vahi seva. In addition to not recognizing and worshipping their parents, Tulsidas says, they compel the good to serve, like the sadhus. They made them work as laborers. These are the people who live noble and honorable lives and who they help to remove the darkness of ignorance by teaching and preaching. The noble teachers, they were held to ransom and they were made to do the laborious work as everybody else. So they had no respect for anybody at all. So think of that situation. Isn't it happening today? So Ramayana is a literature of yesterday, today and tomorrow. Time past, present and future. Whatever we can think about is in here. Tulsidas sings in Chopai. Jai Ram Shri Ram, Jai Jai Rama, Shri Ram Jai Ram, Jai Jai Ram. जिनके यह आचरण भवानी ते जानहु निश्चर सब प्राणी. So Lord Shankara is narrating this katha also to Mother Parvati. Bhavani was the Mother Parvati. He's saying, O Bhavani, those people who act like this, who perform this type of action, he says they are considered to be demons. They are like Ravan. So, not a person with 10 heads be considered Ravan. Those 10 heads are representative of different types of qualities, like hate and greed and lust and anger, jealousy. Those are what the heads represent. All of us have those heads. In all of us, there are these negativities and also the positivities. It depends on what we cultivate. Whatever we cultivate, that is what we become. A man is his mind. Whatever is within the mind, that is what makes the man. If pure thoughts operate within the mind, then you behave like that. If all the negative thoughts occupy the mind, that is what we become. A man don't just get up today and say, well, okay, he's going to do X, Y, and Z, kill this person, rob this man. He has been thinking of that all the time. And having thought about it for so many days and months perhaps, it now becomes part and parcel of his normal thinking. So when he does it, he does that without any kind of regret. So you see, in the first chapter I said, those who hold this weakness near and dear to their heart, it says, there is no limit to their evil doings. So what we think, that is what we become. Atisaya deki dharma kai glani, param sabit para akulani. Mother Earth is experiencing this. We are all her children. Mother Earth is not just something physical. There is an energy operating within Mother Earth, which we call Prithvi Ma. That energy is what sustains the earth and gives it the power. When we put a seed, it germinates. All our needs and wants come from Mother Earth. But people are completely disrespecting Mother Earth now. When you invite a Pandit and he comes to do your puja, he puts the Bedi there. Isn't that so? That Bedi is representative of Mother Earth. So as Hindus, we pay reverence to all the Lord's creation, because the Lord is in and through all His creation. If He is in there, that is what we pay obeisance to. So Mother Earth is experiencing this. Whatever we do, Mother Earth feels the effects. And Tulsidas is saying here, when Mother Earth saw this exceeding disregard that people have towards religion, she was horrified and became so distressed. What does she do? You know, this lesson is so extensive when you take it in its fullest capacity. Think in terms of the kind of floods we are having, the tsunamis, the earthquakes, the hurricanes. This one that spins up, how you call it? Yes, the tornadoes. And all is happening, and it's happened so frequently. Mother Earth is rebelling. Mother Earth is rebelling. Because we have lost all respect for her. Mother Earth is a living entity. The ocean is a living entity. The wind is a living entity. And we pay respects to all that. We have the wind god. We have the god of the ocean. And every other facet of nature. And we pay respects to all of them. And we are suffering what we have planted. Look at the kind of heat we get in. The polar caps are all melting down. So there is so much. And yet still man has not awakened. Tulsidas sings in Chaupai.